Welcome to Bible Alive weekly lesson number 1, folks. And the first lesson is Mediterranean culture is the first interpretation of Scripture. You and I will never understand the Scriptures, never get the Bible, unless we understand its commitment to honor and shame. The organizing principle of all Mediterranean society has been and always will be belongingness, structured primarily by means of the family. In other words, for a Mediterranean, success in life means maintaining ties to other persons within sets of significant groups. The central group in this set is one's kinship group. A person's identity depends on belonging to and being accepted by the family. However, such belonging and acceptance depend on a person's adhering to the traditional rules of order by which Mediterranean families are organized and maintained. And those traditional rules of order are rooted in the complementary codes of honor and shame. Honor refers to a person's or group's claim to worth, along with the acknowledgement of that worth by others within the community. Honor, therefore, is socially acknowledged worth. In the Mediterranean world of the past and present, honor is a core value. Since it is a value, honor is also a quality that inheres in one's behavior. Honorable persons manifest the quality of honor in what they say and do. Persons who show concern for their honor are said to have positive shame. On the other hand, persons can lose their honor, especially through interactions with others. When in the estimation of the community, a person is judged to have been bested by another, that person is said to be shamed. A good honor rating is crucially necessary for a meaningful human social existence in the Mediterranean world, much as a good credit rating is in our Western society. Over the next few weeks, we're going to be looking at different windows presented by Dr. Bruce Molina, presenting a situation that's rather fantastical, but will help us, I believe, gain some insight into the Bible. We're going to imagine that we are American time travelers with amazing, fantastical technology that integrates us, allowing us to participate and observe undetected in first century Syro-Palestine village life. So we're going to suspend belief a little bit and imagine we have access to this technology, and we've been doing it for 20 to 30 years and even have gained relationships with our neighbors who never suspect us as being alien to their society. We are going to be observing Mediterranean Israelites, either as witnesses or participants. The presentations that follow will be keyed to understanding honor and shame. Let's begin this Bible study with a little story. You are a time traveler researcher traveling from the future United States back in time to Syro-Palestine of the first century. You have amassed 20 years of research work, and your technology allows you to do your field work completely unsuspected for being foreign to this environment. You even have developed friendships. One of these friends is Ho Didor, a Galilean peasant smallholder of 4 to 6 acres. One morning you approach Ho, and you notice that he is extremely infuriated. So you walk over to him and ask him what's bothering him. Yesterday, Ho said, I went out to the village to find my sons and asked them to help me finish some work that remained in the field. I ran into them in the busy village square and asked them to come and help me finish the work. They told me that they were busy putting a roof on a neighbor's house, but that they would come to help tomorrow or the day after. Ho fumes. But the response to you seems pretty reasonable, so you can't figure out why it is that Ho was so angry. 2 questions for you after hearing that story. The first one is, was Jesus a rebellious son? The second question is, why was Ho so angry, so infuriated with his sons? Ho was angry with his sons because they dishonored him in public. Because the focal social institution of the Mediterranean is kinship or family. The role of a Mediterranean father means status on the social ladder. When a Mediterranean father commands his children to do something, and they obey him, they treat him honorably. Other people seeing this acknowledge that he is an honorable father. But should a father command his children and they procrastinate or disobey, they shame him, they dishonor him, always a public affair. The father's peers would feel free to ridicule him, thereby acknowledging his lack of honor as a father. You know, sometimes when non-Mediterraneans hear this kind of commentary, they balk at it. They say you're generalizing things. Honor cannot be a core value or a central value because what is valued in one Mediterranean community is different than what is valued in another. You're generalizing things. It's important to mention something right from the beginning. Honor is not a type of action. Honor is also not a type of social role. Honor, instead, is a value. And what differs is the way in which various Mediterranean communities evaluate actions and roles. In other words, various Mediterranean groups of people might evaluate quite different behaviors as honorable. Imagine what a group of Mediterranean thieves might hold to be of worth. It would be quite different than what a group of Mediterranean merchants might think as being honorable. But all Mediterraneans make a claim of honor, and that includes Galilean peasants like Jesus. Moreover, United States persons have to realize that it would be highly doubtful that a Mediterranean peasant farmer like Ho Didor would get furious because perhaps it might rain, and that would cause him economic problems. The sons refused to come to do the field work, which was required by, say, the weather, so his sons should have come immediately, and now it's cost him money. That's a very American way of looking at things, but that's not really how people in the Bible think. The fact is that even if the neglect of the fieldwork did lead to loss of money, that would not lead Ho, the Mediterranean father, to anger. Money is only valued in the Mediterranean world of the Bible because it begets honor, and money that cannot be converted into honor is not very socially useful. You know, Israelite tradition had some pretty harsh prescriptions for sons who dishonored their fathers and mothers. Deuteronomy 21 verses 18 through 21. If someone has a stubborn and rebellious son who will not listen to his father or mother, and will not listen to them, even though they physically punish him, his father and mother shall take hold of him and bring him out to the elders at the gate of his home city, where they shall say to the elders of the city, "This son of ours is a stubborn and rebellious fellow who will not listen to us. He is a glutton and a drunkard." Then all his fellow citizens shall stone him to death. Thus shall you purge the evil from your midst, and all Israel will hear and be afraid. The point here is that a consistently disobedient son is like a drunkard, like a glutton. Gluttony and drunkenness are socially obnoxious qualities. They deprive a Mediterranean family of its honor rating. And any qualities, whether honorable or shameful, that are revealed in the child, get ascribed to the parents. This is because honor is derived from birth. Like mother, like daughter. Or like father, like son. Being born into an honorable Mediterranean family makes one honorable. This is because the Mediterranean family is the repository of the honor of illustrious ancestors and their accumulated acquired honor. One of the major purposes of genealogies in the Bible is to set out a person's honor lines. When you are reading a biblical genealogy, don't think Ancestry.com. Don't think that these are DNA accurate records. These are mostly mythological honor pedigrees. Biblical genealogies situate a person on a traditional ladder of statuses. The genealogies underscore a person's ascribed honor. That's what's going on in the two different genealogies in the Gospels of Matthew and Luke. They're dealing with questions about Jesus' family and origin. Many did have serious doubts about Jesus' family and origin. His birth was dubious. His mother's pregnancy was dubious. And in any event, he was a Galilean peasant artisan turned day laborer. Look at these verses. See how many times the subject of Jesus' lowly origins are brought up. Therefore, having a consistently disobedient son, like a wayward daughter, raises grave doubts about the family's honor rating. This is because they refuse to obey requests or commands of their parents in public. It's a major threat. And this helps explain why Hodidor, the father in the story, was so pissed off at his two sons. They shamed him. They shamed the family. They dishonored the family. What good is a Mediterranean father who cannot demand immediate obedience from his sons? Remember that story Jesus told? Matthew chapter 21, verse 28. A man had two sons. He came to the first and said, "Son, go out and work in the vineyard today." He said in reply, "I will not." But afterwards he changed his mind and went. The man came to the other son and gave the same order. He said in reply, "Yes, sir," but did not go. Which of the two did his father's will? That was Jesus' question. Which of the two did his father's will? Let's rephrase that question. Which of the two sons honored his father? And remember, there's the commandment, you shall honor your father and mother. Well, it's not the first son. The first son humiliated his father. The second son lied, but he saved his father's face in public. In the Mediterranean world of the Gospels, that's more important. You can lie, you just don't dishonor your family. This is very important to understand when reading the Gospels. And when we look at the story of David, we can see examples of this too. The behavior of his son Absalom, for instance, in regard to how he respects his father. David should have killed Absalom for what he did, but he didn't. He was a Mediterranean failure as a father. Same thing for this man in Jesus' parable over in Matthew 21. He really should have killed both sons, if you think about it. Just like David with Absalom. You have to read these stories in light of this little time travel story about Hodidor and his two sons. Now I want you to think about another gospel story. Remember when Jesus comes to Nazareth, his hamlet village he abandoned to go off and be with John the Dunker, John the Baptist? You remember that his brothers and his sisters and his mother come to him to collect him, to drag him away? And Jesus says that my true brothers, my true sisters, my true mother are those who do the will of God. Do you think he honored or dishonored his biological family? Furthermore, the gospel tradition says that he ate at times with tax collectors and sinners. And along with informing us about this, Jesus is accused of being a glutton and a drunkard. We've heard that before today, haven't we? This obviously is just the opposite of the behavior of an obedient son who brings honor to his Mediterranean family. If we're honest with the text, shouldn't we say that the injunction of Deuteronomy chapter 21 verses 18 to 21 that we just cited a moment ago applies to Jesus as a disobedient and rebellious Israelite son? Or is there any way we can excuse Jesus' shameful behavior? So, given the honor code of the Mediterranean cultural world of the Bible, however can Jesus' behavior, which is shameful, be excused? The only way it could be that way is if Jesus somehow were mysteriously of a higher social ranking. That'd be it, because there's this common Mediterranean belief that people ranked higher on the ladder of social statuses, people with a higher honor rating, can do things that people lower on the ladder are oblivious to. They'll never understand, nor should they. They're lower ranked people. This helps explain people like the real top dogs in the Mediterranean world, people like Caligula and Nero. Nero running around dressed as a wolf, biting men on the genitals, that's pretty shameful, disgustingly shameful for Mediterranean cultural norms. But you see, he's so high-ranked, who can assail that? So the only way it could become assailable, Jesus' otherwise shameful actions be unassailable, is if somehow it could be shown that he actually does rank higher on the ladder of social statuses, that he actually does have a high honor rating. But how are you going to do that? This is one of the problems of the Gospels. The authors of the Gospels, the evangelists, have to struggle with Jesus' lowly, shameful origins. In the Mediterranean cultural world of the Bible, higher ranked or higher status people with a higher honor rating, are superior to the obligations of ordinary, regular persons. And those people simply cannot understand the higher ranked people, what they're up to, what they're doing. But we got to remember that Jesus was a village peasant artisan. He was a Galilean peasant, a starving artisan. That means most of the time he was traveling to village squares and begging for work as a day laborer, one of the ergotai. And he was a social deviant because he had to leave his small little hamlet of maybe 50 to 100 persons to go work. Folks, Jesus was a very low status, very low honor ranking. He was a nothing person. And then when you consider that his mother was pregnant under unusual circumstances, his dubious origins would have haunted him his entire life. But when we read the Gospels carefully, we are clued into the probabilities that Jesus did in fact belong to a higher social status. He was higher up on the social ladder. The Gospels inform us of the voice from the sky vault at Jesus' baptism. We are told that God was well pleased with Jesus. And again, when Jesus is transformed in the transfiguration experience, readers are told to listen to Jesus. So now that we know, what do we know? We learn that the organizing principle of the Mediterranean world of the Bible is belongingness, structured primarily by the Mediterranean family. We also learn that success in life, according to the Mediterranean culture-specific Bible, must be a group happiness involving interpersonal contentment within the group. Honor and shame are the core values in the Mediterranean in general and in the Bible as well. Honor means a claim to worth that is publicly acknowledged. To have honor means to have publicly acknowledged worth. To be honored is to be ascribed such worth or be acclaimed for it. Shame, as the opposite of honor, is a claim to worth that is publicly denied and repudiated. To be shamed is always negative. It means to be denied or to be diminished in honor. On the other hand, to have shame is always positive. It means you are concerned about your honor. Therefore, all persons in the Bible seek to have shame, and no biblical person cares to be shamed. That includes God and Jesus. In the Mediterranean world of the Bible, a meaningful social existence is impossible without a good honor rating. Honor is not a type of action or a social role, but a value, which means some general quality and direction of human life that human beings are expected to embody in their behavior. Unlike the United States, the cultural world of the Bible is driven by honor rather than by economics. In line with the circum-Mediterranean world, Israelite tradition recommends death to persistently disobedient sons. When people called Jesus a glutton and a drunkard, they were calling him a disobedient son and thereby calling for his death. Honor is a group value. Group members share in the honor of the group. The primary way one gets honor, and thus their honor rating, is by being born. Great people beget great people, lowlifes beget lowlifes. That's how the biblical world sees things. Otherwise shameful behavior can be countenanced or even praised by persons of high honor ratings. The Gospels grapple to present peasant, nothing person Jesus for who he truly was, someone of unassailably high honor, God's holy man, derived from the testimony of the God of Israel. Well, that's a lot of stuff to talk about, to think about, and to pray over. Do that. I strongly encourage my friends watching this to look over the various texts that we discussed, all the passages. Go back over the video and on your own, read those passages. And any questions or points or issues or criticisms, all of that good stuff that I know you have, please leave in the comments section so we can start up a dialogue about the things we study today. And what I'm going to do over the weekend is I'm going to answer these, and we can have a really nice, vibrant exchange over this, and hopefully build on this in the weeks to come. For all my brothers and sisters, God bless you. I hope you're doing well. Be safe. This is the first of many different weekly studies that we're going to have, and I think it's going to go some nice places. So let's keep each other in prayer. Please stay safe with the pandemic. It's not over yet. Be very careful. We've got the holidays approaching, and God bless you all. More to come soon.